Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. And in today's video, I actually got inspired by Caitlin, who made a video not that long ago talking about all the pads that she hasn't used yet this year. So I went through my entire collection. I always write down at the end of the year how many uses I have on each palette so that when I come back a year later, I can kind of give you like stats and, maybe explain why I haven't used something versus why I used something very, very often. So, yeah. And I currently have 67 palettes. I have a couple more that I haven't reviewed yet and then I haven't played with yet. So they're not officially in my collection. But the ones that I have already played with, that I have already showcased and are already like, present on my channel, it should be 67. We had 63 at the end of the year. And I decluttered a couple of the palettes from last year's video, or like the end of the year video, and I decluttered even a couple of palettes that I bought this year. I think it was like 2 palettes. So yeah, but it definitely added way more palettes this year than that. It's just I also decluttered a couple older ones. But out of these 67 palettes that I currently have, and obviously the 63 that I had at the end of last year, there are, I think, 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh, only 15. 15 palettes that I haven't used yet this year, which I think 15 isn't that horrible, considering the fact that we're just like halfway, well, not even fully halfway through, and obviously my collection is almost 70 palettes, so 15, that's not that bad. I definitely expected way more. I think what really helps me is like the Project 20 uses and palette bingos, where I always like focus on a certain brands. So I think that's what really helps me to kind of go through my collection and use every single palette at least once a year. But without further ado, let's just jump right into it. Let me show you all the palettes that I haven't used yet and maybe explain why. But before I jump into that, in case you're new here, hi, my name's Sasha. I love indie makeup, I love colorful makeup, I love eyeshadows especially. Palettes are just the love of my life. So I love talking about them, but I also really love reviewing, project planning, using up my collection, obviously palette bingos, and swatching videos of all sorts and kinds. So hopefully you'll find something that interests you. And in case you're not subscribed, I would really, really appreciate you subscribing. I am kind of trying to hit 1K before the summer, so that would really, really help me. And now for the palettes. So I kind of have them stacked from like kind of the biggest to the smallest. The smallest one that I have here is the Shelly Makeup Wolfa palette, which was a palette that kind of almost used as my project pan palette for this year, but eventually I decided against that and other palettes were chosen. But this is how it looks like. It's a very small, pretty neutral autumn palette, so it will definitely get some uses. During autumn, I will probably put it in my autumn season makeup collection just to use it more, and also because I think it really fits in there. So that's for Wolfa, that's pretty much the only reason. And there are a couple of shades here that are kind of similar to other palettes that I'm low-key working on or that I've been kind of focusing on. And this definitely isn't palette that I'm like reaching for a lot from my collection, but it was a very interesting palette. I love that it's magnetic, and I do love some of these shades. I kind of voted for this pop of color here. But I like to look at it, and I think it's an inspiring color story. I just don't really reach for it all that often, but I think I will probably reach for it during autumn because I think I used it a couple times last year as well. I think maybe like 5 times if I remember that correctly. So I'm hopeful. Another palette that I think will get a lot of uses towards the second half of the year because it is a gorgeous palette. Just, I've been swamped with different projects and new products, and also I feel like there wasn't really a season for it. But it's the Gliminatrix Nocturna palette. I have the mini Nocturna palette. It's a gorgeous one. I love the packaging, I love the presentation, and this color story is so versatile and so beautiful and so me. And I love the quality of it, so I will definitely use it in the second half of the year. I have no doubt that this will get a lot of uses, and yeah, it's such a pretty palette. I highly recommend this one, especially the mini version. I do really love these mini versions because realistically, especially for someone who does have multiple palettes, it's really hard to go through them and completely use them up. So I do appreciate smaller bands and smaller amounts of product because usually then the palette is not as expensive, especially when you have like a lot of really fun, incredible multi-chromes. The price can get really high if you use big pans, so I really don't mind having smaller pans, and at least I feel accomplished when I hit a pan on them. So for me, this is perfect, and it will get a lot of uses. I'm definitely not worried about this one. The same goes for the third palette, which is the Sugar Drizzle Elements of Evil palette. This one is gorgeous. I know I've used it a lot last year, both during summer and also in the obviously like spooky Halloween season. It will definitely be part of my Halloween collection, and I do like to reach for it even in summer because it has a lot of these like soft colors and kind of like kind of like pastel shades, which I do obviously really enjoy. So it's not a problem for me to reach for it. I've just been focusing on other palettes, but once my Pentos palettes project kind of slows down and I get rid of a couple palettes, couple shades, I will have more time to actually play with these kind of unused palettes. Then I have sorry, I have to get it out of the packaging. I have the Kaleidos Flower Punk palette, which I think I've only used 2 or 3 times ever since I got it, but I got it kind of toward the end of autumn last year. I was able to find it secondhand because I've always wanted it and obviously can't get it anymore. So it's not very used from me, but again, very kind of like end of summer, beginning of autumn for me because it has a lot of these bright colors, and I will reach for it in that period, hopefully at least a couple times, because it is still a formula that I'm kind of trying and getting accustomed to. So yeah, I will 100% use it. It's again just wasn't the season for it. Then we have most of these are like Halloween and autumn palettes, by the way. But I have the Gourmand Girls Haunted palette, which is very Halloweeny autumn palette, but also I feel like the color story is very much something that I would wear all year round. Just didn't have time to reach for it, but I do definitely want to film another Gourmand Girls palette bingo, probably towards the end of summer, before I'm actually gonna put them in my Halloween season collection. But again, it's a wonderful palette. It's definitely a palette that I do really enjoy using, and it has beautiful shimmers, it has beautiful mattes. It's a pleasure to work with. So that's Haunted. Then her older sister is the Spooked palette, also by Gourmand Girls. This one I would like to reach for more, kind of on a regular basis, because I would like to hit couple pans on this, so I will have to focus on it more. I really kind of hope that eventually I will roll it either in my Project 20 uses or maybe even Bendo's eyeshadows. I would really appreciate that because I think this palette does deserve a lot more use from me, and it is a fave for a long time, or it has been a fave from a very for a very long time, and I do like this color story, like what it kind of gives you, and also obviously the packaging for me. It's just Gourmand Girls have such a wonderful formula, packaging, color story. They just know how to make palettes. And the last one from them is the Nightshade palette that they released. Was it last year, summer in the end, or was it 2 years ago? I'm not completely sure, but this palette definitely deserves way more love. And also for me, it is kind of like that transition between summer and autumn because obviously have these really vibrant yellows and greens, but also you have these deep purples. That is a color story that I like pretty much all year round, and I again want to focus on it more. And eventually I would love to have pants in this palette because I just really enjoy it, and I would like this palette to look like I actually enjoy it. Then I have my Avatar The Last Airbender Fire palette, which again is color story that I do associate more with autumn. And I haven't used it yet. I used it in during last year's autumn. It's definitely not my favorite palette from this collection, like from this Avatar collection from Lidl, just because I don't really wear reds, but I do want to slowly kind of implement them in my kind of like makeup wear. I'm just always scared of reds, even though I know I can use them. Like I do use them sometimes with like really pastel pinks or with vibrant yellows, and I'm completely okay with that. It's just a color that I never really remember to use. Then a palette that I haven't used yet, but I will definitely get a lot of uses during summer because it is actually in my summer season collection, and it's the Air palette, also from the Avatar The Last Airbender collection from Lidl, and this is gorgeous. Like it is such a beautiful kind of spring to summer palette. I love the quality of it. I enjoy all of these shades. I think that they're absolutely beautiful, and this will get a lot of uses. I'm definitely planning on using it because it's so beautiful and I want to enjoy it. Then palette that I was trying, I think it was autumn last year, is the Witch of the Wildflower from Devon Cosmetics. This is a beautiful palette and I just haven't had time to use it this year, but it is so pretty. I definitely have to use it. I think I'm gonna try to implement it maybe as part of my like month-ish of my stash at the end of summer. Maybe like in August it could be a nice palette, or September. One of these months I think I would like to put this in there because I think it would just really deserve that. Then another Halloween palette is the Trick or Treat from Odin's Eye in collaboration with Angelica Nyquist. This is how it looks like. It is gorgeous. I will definitely try to use it a lot more this is autumn because it's kind of like a perfect palette for it, and I do enjoy these greens, but I do have to pan my Christmas, like the greens from the Christmas palettes from Udensai, because those are my Bandos palettes for this year. But once I'll be done with that, I will have more time to focus on other greens in my collection. Then a palette that is also in my summer collection that I recently posted, so obviously it will get a lot of views. That's always kind of the purpose of seasonal collections, and also to show you what I have, is the Sorbeti palette by Glam Shop. It is a palette that I've traveled with last year, and I'm definitely planning on traveling with it again this year because it is absolutely stunning and perfect palette. You have a couple really beautiful mattes, you have like neutrals in case I do feel like it. I have really warm bright kind of orangey shade, which I love wearing these shades, and then this kind of like summery pinky purple. And then all of these beautiful shimmers, and I would definitely like to focus on these shimmers this year because I really love them and I would like to eventually pan them at some point. So these ones are great. Then a palette that I don't think I actually mentioned, well, I did mention it in my summer collection, but I don't think it's in my top 10 ranking. It was probably one of the palettes that I mentioned kind of like on the side, and it's the Serpent palette from Makeup Beauty Shop in collaboration with Martha's Makeup, which I've been obsessed with last year's like spring and summer because it is so gorgeous, and I do want to use it more. Because I'm so close to hitting pan on a couple of these shades, like this one, this one, this one, maybe even this one. So, and I would really like to, because again, I love this palette. I've used it so many times. I think it almost has like 50 uses. Well, no, maybe it has like 40 uses currently, or like 40 looks that I've created with this palette. So it is definitely a favorite palette of mine, and it does deserve to actually show it. So yeah, and it's a great palette. I think I might actually bring this palette and the Sorbetti with me to Sweden, because I'm gonna be there for a week on vacation. So I might just take these two and get some uses out of them because they are absolutely, absolutely stunning. Then last two palettes. So I have the Harvest of Souls palette from Fantasy Cosmetica, which was my favorite palette from last year. And the only reason why I haven't really used it is, again, I didn't have time, and that's the only reason, because this palette, even though it is a little bit darker, it has these pops that definitely make it all year round palette, and it's shades and colors that I just absolutely love. So for me, literally the only reason is that I haven't had time, but I hope I'm gonna be, like, I'm really crossing my fingers that it's gonna be rolled into my Project 20 uses, because that would just be incredible. Or maybe if it's not gonna happen by the end of the year, I might just use it as my palette crush of the month towards the end of the year, because I really want to show it the love that it deserves, because it is such a gorgeous formula and such a gorgeous color story, and Fantasy Cosmetica absolutely like surprised me in the best of ways with this palette. This was my first time ever trying that brand, and whoa, that was like intense. And then the last palette is the Beauty Moons Cosmetics collab with Philip from last year. It's the Gospel palette. I haven't used it this year somehow, which I don't really understand, because it is a beautiful kind of rainbowy palette, but I just didn't have time, and somehow it didn't end up in my spring collection. I think it was just because it didn't really, I guess I had other palettes that I wanted to mention more, but it would definitely deserve to be there, and I hope I'm gonna get some uses out of it, hopefully this summer, because it is in my summer collection again. And yeah, it's like a very easy palette to use because it has kind of everything, so I can always just pop one or two of these shades with any other look that I'm wearing, and it always will work. So this one, maybe I'm gonna use it tomorrow actually, because I kind of have a palette that I'm planning on using, and I will definitely need a couple more shades. So maybe I could do that actually. That could be fun. Yeah, I think I'm gonna use it tomorrow to have at least like a couple of uses in this one. But those are all the palettes that I wanted to mention. I'm very happy that it's only 15. I was slightly like, when I first thought about it, on the day that I saw Caitlin's video, I was kind of worried that it's gonna be like over 20. And then I was going through my collection and I realized it's not that bad, and that makes me obviously like really excited. And I hope by the end of the year I'm gonna use all of them at least once, preferably more, obviously, but I would love to use them at least once. In previous years, I was very successful with that, and I think I usually had like at least 3 or 4 uses on every single palette, and some even had like 20, 30 and more uses. So I hope it's gonna stay that way. I don't want to neglect my palettes. I still want to use them, have fun with them. Technically, another palette that I could mention, but I actually gave it away 2 days ago, is the Moonshroom palette by Lunar Beauty. But again, because I noticed that I haven't used that one, and I have been kind of thinking about decluttering it from like at least the second half of last year. That's kind of where that thought appeared in my brain. So yeah, I got rid of it. I found better home for it. I hope that the person that I gave it to will enjoy it way more and just have better time with it. It's not that it was a bad pad, it's just I didn't need that in my collection. I'm kind of sad that I don't have it because the packaging was so pretty and it was really inspiring. But yeah, I didn't need these shades, so I got rid of it. And that's everything for this video. Let me know if you want me to film part 2 of this and show you my most used palettes. I think most of you can kind of tell which ones that would be, but if you want to see that video, let me know down below and I will definitely film it for you. But with that being said, have a wonderful day and I'll be super happy to see you tomorrow with another video. Bye!